CPA, CGMA, and today I want to talk a little bit about how not all tax preparers are created equal. Okay? Um, I'm in South Florida. We are like the scam capital of the world here, unfortunately. So I have seen some things in my day, and I just want to come out and share with you guys some things to watch out for in your taxes to know, like maybe it's a red flag or two that maybe there's something wrong with your tax preparer. Now, this one I have seen multiple times, and it shocks me every single time I see it, right? If you look at your tax return when you get it back from your preparer, don't just blindly sign it, right? Take a few minutes, look through it, and if anything doesn't make sense, they should be willing to answer questions. So, one of these things that I have seen over and over is fraudulent claiming of tax credits that you are not entitled to. Okay, there are some tax credits that you may be entitled to. Maybe you put solar panels on your roof. Maybe you bought a Tesla, right? There are things that you can qualify for. But there are tax credits that you certainly can claim that you do not qualify for. And that most likely will lead to some pretty nasty letters from the IRS down the line. So if you see credits for wind energy and you don't have a windmill, or geothermal pumps and you don't have a geothermal pump on your property, question those, right? It's sometimes so enticing to see that big refund and you're like, oh my God, yes, I would love to have that cash back right now. But if it's a fraudulent tax credit that's being claimed by your tax preparer, you want to run the other way, right? Definitely do not sign that return. Do not collect your $200 from Pass and Go, right? Like don't submit that return with fraudulent information, because at the end of the day, you as the taxpayer are the one who's responsible for signing off on things that are illegitimate. Another one is if you have a promise, right? If your tax preparer says, oh, I promise to get you a refund before they even look at your information, right? You can't promise things like that to clients. You have no idea what's happening. You don't know what their situation is. You can't make promises for refunds because probably there's going to be some shenanigans to make sure that that's what happens on your return. So you really want like an honest and transparent tax preparer. You don't want them, promising the world and they're going to deliver you, fraud and IRS headaches down the line. Also, it's not normal practice if you owe taxes to pay your preparer and have them pay the IRS taxes for you, right? You don't want to go that route. If you owe money to the IRS, you can go to irs.gov/payments. You can make that payment directly yourself. You do not need a third party. You don't need a middleman. The only thing that does is put you at risk for that person to take your money that is supposed to go to the IRS, right? To take it and the IRS never get your tax dollars. So that's not a normal practice. Beware if you see things like that. Also, pressure to like sign your tax return before you see the whole thing finished, right? The final product should be what you sign. The tax preparer should have signed it. You should sign it. In most cases, you shouldn't really be signing the tax return. You should be signing the e-file authorization form after you reviewed a copy of your return, because that's what lets the preparer submit it to the IRS on your behalf. So don't sign things before it's done. Don't give a signature and then say, oh yeah, we'll take care of it. Don't worry, we'll fix it for you. No, sign the last version, right? Anyone who tells you oh yeah, you don't have to report all your income. That's kind of exactly the opposite of our job as tax preparers. We're supposed to tell you no, you have to report all of your income, right? And I'm not talking about questionable scenarios that can come up where, we see this a lot in the crypto space. Like, is something taxable? Is it not? I don't mean nitty gritty, like fine detail, not unclear laws. I mean, if they say, oh, well, you got paid in cash, don't worry. You don't have to report that to anyone. That is like totally unethical. It's not what we're supposed to do as tax preparers. Uh, it's bad. It might feel like you're cheating the system, which is kind of neat at the time, but if you get found out down the line, you're not going to be happy, right? Our goal, as your taxpayer representative, is to make sure that you're protected. It's not to victimize you. Uh, so, make sure you find somebody reputable. CPAs, enrolled agents, EAs. We have many years of training, but we also have responsibilities to the IRS, right? They do monitor us, they watch us, and if they find people who are um, continually committing the same, I'm going to call them errors, right? Errors, or they're committing the same fraud on multiple taxpayers that they're signing off on, the IRS will actually go after them. And I have heard of firsthand of cases where that has happened. So you want someone reputable. If they're licensed, it's better. You can go to unlicensed tax preparers, but not recommended. And the more complicated your taxes get, the more necessary it is to find a CPA that knows how to handle your specific situation and just keep you safe, right? So say no to shady tax credits that you don't qualify for. It is not worth the hassle in the end of the IRS coming and knocking on your door, because they don't just say, hey, you were bad for that one thing, give us the money back. They look at your whole return. They might look at other years. It can be really an unpleasant, time consuming, and expensive situation to be in. And we want to make sure that you don't end up there. So find someone good. If you're still looking for a CPA who's honest and trustworthy, give us a call. Even though we're in Florida, we are shining light of truth. But no, for real, guys, like, it's scary out there sometimes, and I see tax returns. I see so many tax returns every day, and when I show people, hey, this is some shady stuff happening on your return, they're shocked. They never know that it happened. They don't know what the forms are, and there's a lot of forms out there, so makes sense. And if you have questions about your own return, we actually do offer a free tax return review service. Like, we'll just take a look at it and say, like, oh, hey, you didn't have a farm. Why do you have farm losses? Things like that. So get with us, get on our calendar, give us a call, shoot us